Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Corinne Caro here on the Daily Blue. Today I have a very, very special guest, somebody that means a lot to me because of his beliefs and because of who he is. And his name is Dr. Henry Malone. Thank you very, very much for being here today.
Well, thank you, Karen, for having me here.
Thank you.
Corinne, that's very thankful. I'm very grateful.
You have meant so much to me. I've followed you for a bit over a year now. I've known you and I have been privy to your beliefs and who you are, and I feel so fortunate to even know you. You've inspired me. You have made and enhanced my own personal relationship greatly in my marriage and my family. So can you tell me, which I've never been able to ask you this before, but who are you and what is your background?
Well, you've just mentioned my name, and I'm a family psychologist, and for many years I've been working with families and couples, helping them to rekindle relationships that were sort of falling apart, and to help them in families where there's some dysfunction.
Right.
So that has been my focus, and you know, also personally, I was very fortunate to meet a very wonderful woman many years ago.
Right.
And she chose to be in a relationship with me, and we're now married 32 years, and this is our 33rd year.
Congratulations.
And we have two sons, Rory and Lorcan.
Right.
Now
those aren't Irish names for you.
They are indeed, they're Irish names. Yes,
did you guys meet here?
No, we met in Ireland.
You did?
Yes.
So she's an Irish gal too?
She's an Irish gal too, yes.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
And 33 years,
yes.
2 children. She also helps you with your business?
Yes,
it's your business
we work together. We work together in my private practice in Manhasset, New York.
Okay, that's wonderful. So do you have any secrets to marriage after being married for so long and helping people? What's the golden rule?
I suppose, you know, certainly for a lifelong marriage, I think the foundation has to be a commitment, a full commitment. And the commitment is made from a free choice. It has to be a free choice, that I choose, this is what I want for me. It's what I want because it is good for me to be in this relationship, to be with this person.
Right.
And that's the basis on which a commitment is made.
Right.
If it's made out of fear, or out of I need, or I have to, or I should, then that one tends to be not very successful.
Sure.
And you see, then besides that, we need to nurture the relationship constantly, every day actually, too, because if we want to be healthy, we will eat meals a day in order to get nourishment,
drink
and
water.
our relationship needs to be nourished and taken care of every day. And then I would think that communication skills are very important, knowing how to talk, knowing how to express yourself so that you don't produce defensiveness in the other person.
Right.
Because if they're defensive, you know, they're going to be ready to respond, to attack and respond and escalate.
Right, and then that perpetuates.
Yes, and you know, so a commitment with nourishment and with good communication is the secret for an effective and long-lasting marriage. And if that's not there, then we're going to have troubles, and it probably leads to relationships falling apart.
Right, and that's something, though, you can fix each one of those components by working at it, right?
You certainly can, yes.
Now, you speak about commitment and the nourishing. Now, what I've learned from you is that trickles down into the children also being a part of that commitment, and you were there with us when we nourished our relationship and furthered our commitment with our children as well, and celebrating our 15-year anniversary. That I think is something that I've learned a great deal from you, including the kids in that.
Well, absolutely, because you know, when a husband-wife, the couple relationship is healthy and it's strong, and the children are really very happy and content. They blossom, they grow, they're really very happy.
Right.
Because they know it's safe, they know that it's safe and it's secure.
Right.
They're not going to fall apart.
Right.
That's the greatest anxiety for children, is that their family will fall apart.
Yeah, and I've heard you say so much about fear. That word resonates with me almost every single day, Dr. Malone, because of some of the things that you've said about fear. Do you want to comment on that at all? You know, the enemy and...
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it that fear, and it happens in children when they're growing up, when they're not safe or they're not secure. It sort of it becomes the foundation, or it's like it breeds into them fear, and fear is the opposite of love.
Yeah, it's the
fear
enemy
and
of
love is the enemy. Yes, because when fear is high or strong, there's no room for love to grow or to be experienced.
Right.
And when the fear is able to be reduced, then love has the opportunity to be positive and to be experienced and to be fulfilling.
So you see a lot of couples that are going through really tumultuous relationships right now. What do you think of the divorce rate right now? What's happening?
Well, you know, to me, it's the tragedy of our time. It is really the greatest tragedy of our time, because, you know, beautiful relationships that start off in with plans for a lifelong of fulfillment and happiness, unfortunately, you know, fall apart. And it really happens from neglect. That's really, I believe, is the foundation or the culprit for relationships running into trouble, is because neglect
of one of those areas
of the husband-wife relationship that is not being taken care of. It's not the center. You see, the stresses of life, you know, the pressures from financial pressures and stress. Well, all of those, you know, education, you know, all of those difficulties for young couples that they experience sort of distract and take away from nurturing and taking care of the husband-wife relationship. It's sort of put on the back burner. Yeah, we'll get to it eventually. Yes. You know, and unfortunately it never does. Because often it's too late, because when there's neglect, just like if we neglect to nourish ourselves physically, you know, we're going
Something's
to be unhealthy.
Going to happen
we're
at
going to be
some
unhealthy.
point. Sure.
So, unlike today, you know, or we have maybe 50%, or like in the past, there were certainly 50% of divorce, you know, marriages falling apart and ending in divorce, which was really tragic. It's really tragic, because the family, go back to right through the centuries, has been the foundation, the building blocks of a healthy society.
Sure.
And when they're not there, then the society is weak.
Right.
Society is much weaker.
Right.
And that's what we're sort of dealing with today. So probably in our present time, the divorce rate maybe is around 45%.
Okay.
Now that 5% of a decrease doesn't mean that there's an improvement, because what's happening in today's world is that young people are choosing to live together.
To not get married.
And not get married, to live together.
Even have children without marriage and all that.
have children, yes.
So what is that, you know, what kind of effect does that have if they choose not to get married? Does that easier to walk away, do you find?
That's exactly what it is. To see if there's no commitment. And without the commitment, it's easy to say, well, it's not working.
Yeah, it's temporary.
Let's try somewhere else. Let's go and find another alternate situation.
Sure.
And, you know, when you think of, if we look at some of the statistics, you know, in 1964, 93% of children were born in two-parent families. Now, in 2010, that had reduced to 59%. So 59% of children in 2010 were born in two-parent families.
Wow. And
then you go back to another statistic that came from the Heritage Foundation. It's not mine, the Heritage Foundation comes out with these numbers. In 1964, 6% of children were born out of wedlock. In 2010, 41% of children were born out of wedlock. I mean, that's huge, from 6 to 41.
Significant. Wow.
Born out of wedlock.
But we're still not even seeing, though, a divorce rate go really significantly down or anything.
Well, it's not going down because there are fewer people getting married. So that's really the difference. Is like, you know, if you're the 45% of a smaller number can be very significant.
Sure. Yes. So why the importance of staying married?
Well, you know, I think that's a very, very important question that you put to me now. And in my opinion, and from my experience, from my years of working with couples and families, I will say that attachment is really the most important aspect that we have to look at. Because as human beings, we need to belong, to be connected, to be attached to other people.
Right, we learn it from the beginning.
We want to be in a family, we want to be in groups, we want to be on teams, we want to participate in. It's from birth to death.
Right.
From birth to death,
yeah.
we seek and we desire to be connected to other people in all forms of ways.
Yeah, I never even recognized that.
Particularly in families.
Right.
I mean, you want to have our grandparents, our uncles, aunts, extended family.
Sure.
It's very important.
Sure.
So, and then when it comes to the young adult, you know, in their late teens or early 20s, they go out to search and seek for a mate, for a lifelong companion.
Right.
And they're not looking for one like for a short period. They want this to be forever. They want it to last their lifetime. That's their goal when they're out in seeking a partner. And then on their wedding day, I mean, that's really what it's about. That's the beautiful experience. I want this forever.
Yes.
And stability, because that's what they want. They want to have a stable society. They want to have a stable experience. And because stability in a relationship, it gives many, many benefits. Because when we feel safe and secure, we are much more content, we're happier, and there's no doubt that they are emotionally healthier when they have a solid, stable relationship. They're physically healthier, and they also have more stable employment.
Sure.
It's one of the benefits of being in a stable relationship. And interesting enough, they turn out to be wealthier and richer than people who are not in a stable relationship.
Sure.
And also, very importantly, they have a better sexual relationship. And that's important.
Right.
Because that's really desired.
It's connection
and then that's for the couple. These are the benefits that come to the couple.
Just the couple. We're not even talking about the children
now
and
we talk
the
about
extended family.
Now we talk about the benefits for children.
Right.
And that's really very important because the children are going to be more physically and emotionally healthier. That's guaranteed.
Sure.
They're going to succeed academically, and they're going to more likely to finish college.
Sure. Wow. Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Wow.
And then they're less likely to use drugs or alcohol, at least in a destructive way.
Right.
And they're less likely to be pregnant in teenage life.
Right.
That's very important too. And you know, they're also less likely to live in poverty. I mean, that's an amazing thing that growing up, you know, in a two-parent home, you're 82% less likely to grow up in poverty.
And why do you think?
Because when people are single parents and divorced parents, the financial stresses are huge. They're huge.
Right.
You know, you have now two families to take care of, two homes to take care of. So the standard of living will drop drastically.
And I often notice that many people are getting divorced while the children are younger, thinking, well, the children don't know any better. But that's actually sad, because then that's the only thing that the children know is having the two-parent juggling this and know that. And yes, they don't feel mommy and daddy are breaking apart. They never get that hurt. But then they have that lifestyle, and the only thing that they know is bouncing from house to house.
Yes.
It's very strange.
There was a book written by Elizabeth Marquardt, and it was called Between Two Worlds, where, you know, the children are going from one world to the other world, over and back, and it can be very difficult for them. And although, you know, it's a reality that's happening in our day to day, and people who are separated or divorced need to really work seriously at parenting and make sure that they can at least reduce or limit the damage or the anxiety and stress on the children.
Right. Well, because when they're younger, I think that it's just stressful in general, that, you know, there is a chance that if they work on the whole family component while the children are younger, that they can repair this. And I think that most people don't even look at that as an option. It's just so stressful with infants and toddlers.
Yes, correct. Absolutely true. Yes.
So we've been friends for a while now, and you know, this is a fascinating subject for me, being that I have a degree in child psychology, so it's really, really interesting to me. But I'd love to work on further projects with you, and I want to know, though, what's next for you? What's happening?
Well, I tell you what's happening, that you know, in my work with couples, it became very clear to me that neglect was the greatest problem for couples.
Just obvious, repetitive,
yeah.
right?
And that, especially when they were getting ready for relationships, there was no education at all for them. There was no preparation for the life of a relationship, because that's, you know, it's a career, it's a vocation, you know, to embark on a lifelong relationship, and there's absolutely zero preparation in today's world for people starting off. You know, you could think of some examples like
Fricana or something, right?
Well, yeah, that would be.
Is that helping you though?
Well, it's a small, but it's like 8 hours or 10 hours or a weekend preparation is totally inadequate.
It's not doing much.
I just was thinking today of the example. We say if you had a young man or a young woman who were very interested in medicine because maybe their parent was a doctor and said, "Oh, I would love to be a doctor. I'd really go. And I know a lot about it. I've studied and I've read books about it. So I'm going to set up my practice." Would you be interested in going to that person?
No, not at all.
No, because they're not qualified.
Right.
And yet that's what we expect in marriage, that just because two people fall in love, that then they have everything necessary for a successful relationship. It is absolutely ludicrous that we're doing this, and yes, that's what we do in our society.
And that's just about the only thing that I know that it exists out there. If there's other things I don't even know. I mean,
well, what I would like to see, what I believe, what's necessary is education. We really need to provide education for young people about relationships. We need to prepare them, and so that they will have an idea of what's ahead of them when they get into a relationship. There's all sorts of financial issues. How do we work together? Oh, there's a tremendous number of issues that need to be educated on, and there's nowhere from high school to graduate school. There's nowhere that they're going to have a course or any input about how to have a healthy relationship.
Until now?
Well, hopefully that's what we're planning to do.
Okay.
We want to do that.
That's
and
wonderful.
Then after they get married, to have ongoing.
Check-ins.
Yes, ongoing enrichment programs.
That's important. Because again, life is stressful and you forget about touching base and nurturing the relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's really where I think I want to say thank you to you, Corinne, because you have a great ability to recognize possibilities.
Thank you, Dr. Malone.
So
you'll make me cry.
I know you know, but this is real, because you were aware of my passion for marriage and relationships.
Yes.
And you were also aware of the Honourable Supreme Court Judge Marlene Budd, her passion for marriage and relationships.
Yes.
And in your wonderful, gentle way, you put both of us together, of like mind, two people of like mind together. And from that little seed, we've set in motion to set up a family centre in Nassau and Suffolk that will be of benefit to young couples who want to prepare for relationships, those who are struggling to hold on to a relationship, maybe thinking of breaking up or falling apart, that they would come and get some help in coaching and support.
It's wonderful.
So that's really what we'd like to do. So hopefully this little mustard seed that you planted will grow.
Oh, we will make it grow. We will make it grow.
Okay.
It's so needed. And it's so helpful and so necessary.
Yes.
So we have to not stop until it's...
Because families do count.
Yes, they do.
And marriages do count.
That's true.
And that's what we want to make it happen, that they're going to survive.
That's wonderful.
And grow.
I think we will be looked upon on Long Island then for having the lowest divorce rate if you're on this mission with...
Well, that's our goal. That's what we'd like to do, because if we're going to put together the justice, experience and talent with the psychology and relationship talent. Hopefully we will be able to provide that service for people.
Sure, and I congratulate you. I mentioned this in the beginning of this segment, how much I admire you, and I really truly believe in you and everything that you've taught me. I will never forget. It's just unbelievable. So I look forward to sharing that with my friends and the public. You have a message that needs to get out there, so I thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today for this really incredible session with Dr. Henry Malone, a personal friend of mine. I admire you and I love you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us on the Daily Blue. I'm Corinne Carroll. Take care.